Okay, good morning. This is day 97 of making little videos that share a day or thought in the life of Schizophrenic Dominic. I make these videos to express some amount of sanity amidst the world going crazy and telling everybody that I was insane or diseased. I believe that I experienced schizophrenia, but that it is a reality to be experienced. In 17 and 45 of these days, I express why I call myself a schizophrenic rather than targeted individual. In day 45, I have a 3-minute intro about why I make these videos. I have written a book that is published online for free on medium.com titled Unveiling the Schizophrenic Tradition, which I attach to the topic sections of these posts. And I'm potentially trying to write a second book with my mom going forward here in the next few years or so. We'll see what happens with that. And okay, so yesterday I went to a play with my niece. I went to my niece's play at local junior high, and she's in a theater program, and she did a play called Something Rotten Junior. She was an astrologer in the play. She had a couple lines, and she did really well, and she had a few musical ensemble numbers, and she did really well in that, and she's getting really good at the ensemble numbers, and so that was cool to see. She was kind of front and center at the end or whatever. Uh, so we got to see her really clear on the stage, which was really nice. It was a really cool play, and I can't believe what the teachers do with those kids and get them ready to go in their plays and stuff. And so yeah, it was kind of remarkable what they do. I'm gonna go to there's two casts. There's the scrambled cast and there's the poached cast. And I'm going to the poached cast on Saturday. I went to the scrambled on Wednesday. It's a 4-day event, and so that'll be nice and fun to do. And so yeah, in my We Are Electric book, uh, it discusses how electrical signals, do more than just heal the body, that they also can manipulate functions and other aspects of the body or whatever. And so this is supposedly gets into the fact that all biological processes can be manipulated through electricity. And I think that's where the author is headed here. And so as we go further into the book, I'll be able to relay more of that information. But it discusses in We Are Electric that the bioelectricity of the body, there's more going on than just the healing aspect of, but you can manipulate healing through bioelectricity, but you can also manipulate other bodily functions through bioelectricity, and it's just getting into that. Now that's in the section 4, so I'm in part 4 of that book, so I'll relay that information as I read it. In my Lincoln book, I'm reading about how Lincoln gave a speech opposing James Polk's war against Mexico in 1848 because he questioned whether or not the president was lying when he said that American citizens were killed on American soil, which was the excuse for the James Polk to invade Mexico. And Lincoln was questioning, like, are we giving these war powers to a president? And here we are 170 years later, and look at the war powers that the president has, where he could just kind of make a war whenever he wants. And so Lincoln was questioning that all the way back in 1848. And he took a hit for that because people said he wasn't patriotic or whatever. It's kind of funny because, well, for a long time, I don't know if it's true anymore, because the rise of the South now with human rights violations and uh, the way that Southern people are treating immigrants like they own them, like slaves or whatever, you know. Uh, but Lincoln, for a long time, was considered an American hero, and so I think he still is. But I don't know anymore. Just to get into that a little bit, the immigrants. Trump boasted that uh, he was going to change the status of immigrants, that if they left the country they could come back in, and if they had workplaces vouch for their good behavior or their good work ethic. And I was like, that's really crazy. So he's just basically right out in the open admitting that the reason why he's making this environment hostile for immigrants is so that they become better workers, you know. So like they don't they don't ask for citizenship or anything like that. It's just he's making the environment hostile to the point where he's putting them in their place, so that now workplaces have so much more power over the worker. uh if the workplace determines they're not a good worker, they can be deported. And so yeah, and I thought that was kind of interesting that he just kind of came right out in the open and said, yeah, that's the real reason why we're doing this. And it kind of went under the radar when he did it. And yeah, so all right. In my simulation book, the author posits that there is a tree of data that holds all the data for the multiverse sections of reality, and that this tree gets pruned from time to time, and that by pruning the tree, you don't have to have necessarily the multiverse in existence all over the place, but that there is just the possibilities, and then those possibilities can get enacted. And I don't pretend to know that I know exactly what the guy is talking about, but I understand it a little bit because it reminds me of the Loki series in the timeline in the TVA, the Time Variance Authority. And I thought that was kind of interesting that this author is positing that theory. And so I don't know who took from who, or maybe it goes back to an ancient thread of theories by humans or whatever, or maybe the AI is now theorized about this stuff, or maybe we've been visited by other people in the classified world with regards to the multiverse and things like that. So, okay, in Not So Misfit Odyssey, I've learned that Juanito has admired himself in the mirror, and Paco says that, or Cornejo says that Paco is missing. So I'm at that section of the book, and I read. It's kind of interesting. It's easy to follow, and so I'm having a good time with that book in the beginning sections here. Uh, I was thinking that maybe that there's a reference to Dorian Gray with the pig admiring himself in the mirror, and so I was, okay. Uh, all right. In my book, that Olajuwon's favorite book, Things Fall Apart. It talks about the boy and the girl that were sent over to the village of Amofia for the sacrifice because of the killing of a girl from the Amofia village. And it discusses the boy didn't even know what was going on. He was just frightened, and that there was a meeting of village elders, and they came to his father's house and decided, yeah, your boy's going to be sent over to the other opposing village. And so, yeah, just learning about that. And then also in that book, it describes that Okonkwo is a very wealthy guy, and he's got like three wives with three separate huts on his little compound. And so that's what I learned about right now, and just reading that book. So I'll see where that goes. The State Department. Okay, and my Olajuwon book, it discusses how the State Department it's in trying to create friendships in Africa and abroad. Back when we used to do that, would send over athletes and artists because the countries valued athletes and artists, and they seem to be more moved by those gestures than strictly other kind of visits. And so it discussed how the State Department tried to emphasize egalitarianism, and it didn't really go over well with other countries because they saw what was going on in America with Jim Crow and segregation, and so they didn't really buy into it. But when the athletes came over, there was like a kind of a buy-in, and so it kind of just shows you that the athletics is very much tied into the Department of State, and it's a very important influential piece to American culture and international culture in the world. So I was learning about that in my Olajuwon book. I thought that was interesting. It discussed the Harlem Globetrotters came over in the like 1940s and 1950s, and uh, they dazzled the crowd with their moves or whatever. But like I say, because of Jim Crow that was going on, it put a damper on what was transpiring in America. So you know, people are not stupid. You can't hide your own massive scar that's taking place in your country. You have to fix your problems before you can go around telling everybody how to live, how to exist in their countries or whatever. And so, yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna end probably early here today, but I'll talk a little bit more about it, I'm saving up some money to go to Spain with my parents, and we're gonna walk the Camino de Santiago. And we got back into, because I had the flu, we couldn't walk for about a week, but we got back into a walking yesterday, and it did pretty well. We're gonna get back up to 3 and 4 and 5 miles in the next month here, and then we're eventually gonna get to like 9. So I don't know how we're gonna do that in the heat. That'll be kind of a test for us. We'll have to wake up early in the morning and go on our walks. And what else was I gonna say? Okay, after I'm done finishing saving up for the Camino de Santiago in Spain, I want to go on that walk with my mom and dad. I think me being there is important. I'm gonna come home, and I'm going to try to get a job. It's very difficult to work as a schizophrenic, but I think I can maybe swing it. With all this Trump stuff, I don't even know. I don't look forward to going to work and being around a bunch of weird Trumpers and stuff. But that's America. So uh, uh, yeah, when you have schizophrenia, people try to mess with you on your job, and they try to send you on different directions and stuff and drive you crazy. So hopefully I can get a job. My dream would be to work at like Whole Foods or like Walgreens or something like that. Uh, maybe Sprouts, like a store or something. I think I could work at a store or something. I was going to consider Target, but Target was weird before and it's weird now, so maybe not. I can't say that because I actually like Target, but with the DEI, it's a little bit tricky. I don't think I could work at Costco. It's just a little bit too crazy in there for me. So okay, Yeah, and then when I come home, I'm gonna save up for baseball parks with my mom. We're gonna take trips, maybe even with my brother or sister, brother-in-law, and Scarlett, and maybe we'll go to some different baseball parks around the country in the next few years. That we have that book, and so that was an idea. So hopefully we'll do that. All right, so thank you for listening to me today. It's been 15 minutes and a little bit eclectic today, so goodbye.